You have watched someone say something so obviously wrong that correcting them felt pointless. You have sat in meetings where the loudest voice won, not because it was right, but because it was loud. You have scrolled through comments, through headlines, through entire conversations, and wondered, how? How does stupidity not only survive, but thrive? How does it rise to power, gain followers, make decisions that affect millions? We have more access to information than any generation in human history. And yet, 2 centuries ago, a German philosopher named Arthur Schopenhauer looked at this same pattern and refused to explain it away with comforting excuses. He did not blame lack of education. He did not blame circumstance. He looked at human nature itself, and what he found was deeply uncomfortable. Stupidity is not an accident. It is not a temporary condition awaiting correction. It persists because it serves functions that intelligence cannot. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why stupid people exist, and why knowing this changes how you move through the world entirely. Schopenhauer built his entire philosophy on one fundamental observation. Human beings are not rational creatures who occasionally feel emotions. They are emotional creatures who occasionally rationalize. He called the driving force behind all human behavior the will, a blind, relentless, irrational energy that wants without reason, craves without logic, and acts without reflection. The intellect, that thin layer of reasoning we pride ourselves on, is not the master of this force. It is the servant. Most people do not use their minds to discover truth. They use their minds to justify what the will already wants. This is the foundation of everything that follows. Stupidity in Schopenhauer's framework is not low intelligence. It is the complete dominance of will over intellect. The person who cannot examine their own assumptions, not because they lack the capacity, but because doing so would threaten what they want to believe. The person who argues not to understand, but to win. The person who mistakes the feeling of certainty for the presence of truth. This is not a small population. Schopenhauer believed this described most of humanity most of the time, and the mechanisms that keep it this way are not random. They are structural. Your brain represents roughly 2% of your body weight, but consumes approximately 20% of your energy. This is not a metaphor. It is metabolic reality. And the most expensive cognitive operations, critical analysis, questioning assumptions, holding complexity without premature resolution, cost the most. Evolution did not optimize for truth. It optimized for survival. And survival frequently favored the person who simply did what everyone else did over the person who paused to analyze whether it was correct. The human who accepted the tribe's beliefs without examination belonged. The human who questioned was cast out. The human who acted on instinct survived the immediate threat. The human who deliberated became the threat's meal. Schopenhauer observed that most people treat thinking as an unpleasant necessity to be avoided whenever possible. Not because they are lazy in the moral sense, because genuine cognition is genuinely difficult. It requires energy the body would rather spend elsewhere. Stupidity is not absence of intelligence. It is the path of least metabolic resistance. And evolution has spent millions of years paving that path smooth. Consider any system that requires obedience: governments, corporations, militaries, religions. Now ask a simple question. Which person is easier to govern? The one who follows instructions without examining them, or the one who asks why before complying? The answer is obvious, and so is its implication. Systems requiring compliance have structural incentive to select against independent thought. Schopenhauer watched this pattern repeat across every institution of his era. The person who questioned authority became a problem to be managed. The person who obeyed without friction became a resource to be promoted. This is not conspiracy. It is selection pressure operating exactly as it operates everywhere in nature. The traits that cause friction with a system get filtered out. The traits that enable smooth operation get rewarded and replicated. Over generations, this produces populations shaped for compliance rather than examination. The intelligent questioner does not get eliminated through violence. They get exhausted, marginalized, and eventually self-select out of systems that punish what they cannot stop doing. What remains are those for whom following orders feels natural, because questioning never occurred to them as an option. Schopenhauer wrote that we forfeit 3/4 of ourselves to be like other people. He understood that social belonging is not a luxury. It is a survival requirement wired deep into the human nervous system. Exclusion from the group meant death for most of human history. This wiring remains fully active. Independent thought produces conclusions that differ from group consensus. Different conclusions create disagreement. Disagreement threatens cohesion, and threatened cohesion triggers the group's immune response. The person who challenges shared assumptions does not get evaluated on whether they are correct. They get evaluated on whether they are safe. And the questioning mind is never perceived as safe. It introduces uncertainty. It disrupts comfortable equilibrium. It makes others feel their own unexamined beliefs might be wrong, and that feeling is deeply unpleasant. So groups punish questioners and reward conformists, not through conscious decision, through the accumulated weight of social feedback, the cold shoulders, the missed promotions, the subtle exclusions, the label of being difficult. Stupidity conforms automatically. It absorbs group belief without friction. This makes it socially valuable in ways intelligence can never be. If this pattern is becoming uncomfortably familiar, if you are recognizing something you have felt but never had words for, stay with this. Subscribe. What we examine here is not comfortable, but it is necessary, and the deepest insight is still ahead. Intelligent people experience doubt. This is not weakness. It is the direct consequence of perceiving complexity. When you see multiple variables, conflicting evidence, and uncertain outcomes, hesitation is the rational response. Stupid people do not experience this doubt, not because they have resolved the complexity, because they have never perceived it. They see simple pictures and reach simple conclusions with absolute confidence. Schopenhauer noted that the most decisive people are often those who understand the least. Understanding reveals obstacles. Ignorance sees clear paths everywhere. Now consider what society rewards. Does the leader who says this is complicated and I need time to analyze it inspire followers? Or does the leader who says the answer is obvious and anyone who disagrees is wrong? Confidence reads as competence. Hesitation reads as weakness. The human brain is wired to follow perceived certainty, an adaptation that made sense when the confident leader was likely the experienced one. But this wiring gets exploited when certainty comes from ignorance rather than knowledge. The stupid person rises not despite their stupidity, but because of it. Their confidence is real precisely because they do not know enough to doubt themselves. The intelligent person hesitates, and hesitation in a world that rewards speed looks like failure. Every system seeking control benefits from subjects who do not think critically. This is not cynical speculation. It is observable mechanics. The person who analyzes propaganda recognizes its techniques. The person who questions emotional appeals demands evidence. The person who examines authority asks whether it is legitimate. These people are difficult to manipulate. They create friction. They slow the machinery of control. The person who accepts what they are told, believes what they see, and reacts emotionally without analysis. This person is frictionless. They transmit messages without examining them. They comply without negotiating. They defend systems they have never questioned. Schopenhauer understood that controlling populations is easier when those populations do not think. Not through malicious conspiracy, but through structural selection. Educational systems that reward memorization over questioning survive. Media systems that reward simplicity over nuance attract larger audiences. Political systems that offer easy answers defeat those requiring difficult examination. Over time, these selection pressures shape the population itself, not genetically, but culturally. Each generation raised in systems that punish questioning produces fewer questioners. The result is self-perpetuating. Stupidity does not need to be enforced when it is simply easier than the alternative. Exceptional people threaten average people simply by existing. The presence of genuine intelligence makes others feel inadequate. And rather than improve, they attack the standard. The intelligent person gets labeled arrogant, difficult, negative. The person who never outshines gets labeled a team player, wise, leadership material. Schools reward memorization over thought. Workplaces reward compliance over innovation. The intelligent face a choice, diminish themselves to fit, or accept perpetual friction with systems optimized for mediocrity. He did not believe stupidity could be educated away. He believed it was permanent, built into biology, reinforced by social structures, resistant to every intervention ever attempted. But this was not despair. It was liberation. Stop expecting reason to work where it does not operate. Stop exhausting yourself, enlightening those with no desire for light. Instead, guard your inner life ruthlessly. Choose the rare individuals capable of reflection. Recognize your energy is finite, and most will waste it. This is not misanthropy. It is arithmetic. Stupidity persists because it is cheaper, more obedient, more confident, easier to manipulate, and socially protected. These are not flaws in the system. They are the system. The question is not how to eliminate stupidity. That is impossible. The question is how to avoid becoming part of it. How to keep thinking when not thinking is rewarded. How to value truth when lies are easier. Which mechanism do you recognize most in your own life? Name it below. Because seeing a pattern clearly is how it loses power over you. If this reached something real, subscribe. This is not entertainment. It is clarity that changes what you do next.